What is up, guys? It's Benstant Reaction, an instant reaction to breaking news, a game, scores, stats, a trade, anything that is happening in the sports world. If it is indeed important, we are covering it. So let's jump right into what we saw last night against the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. And I'm just going to be honest with you. Before I jump into this game, before I talk about this game, plain and simply, Thursday night football games are just atrocious. I know they're not going away. I'm not sure how you fix them. Maybe you give both teams the bye week the week before they're supposed to play on Thursday night football, because then you have the bye week and then the mini bye. But it just goes to show you, whatever teams you put up on Thursday night football, it's just not a good product. I don't know how you fix it. It's not fun to watch. It's sluggish. It's a health risk to players. They've simply got to get rid of it, because I cannot stand Thursday night football, although I'm a football degenerate, and I watched every last second of this game last night. So let's talk about this. I'm going to be honest with you. My one and only takeaway from this game, and it's not sexy, it's not a crazy take, I came away from this thinking better about the New York Giants and worse about the Dallas Cowboys, which doesn't make any sense because the Dallas Cowboys won this football game. But this Cowboys team, they can't run the football. They can't stop the run normally. Now, last night was a different outlier. Granted, this is what I told one of my Cowboys friends, who does a lot of work for the Cowboys, really smart guy, is he had told me 1.1 average yards per carry last night for the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm like, yeah, it's Devin Singletary and Tyrone Jones and Eric Gray. It's not exactly an elite backfield that you're going up against. I would hope that you hold that team to nothing. Still, somewhat impressive for them to be able to do that, but the Cowboys haven't answered any questions for me. This is a team, again, I'm always willing to admit to be wrong. I am. I don't know if I'm ready to come off of the Dallas Cowboys winning the NFC East. I think that they still win it, but it's not because I still think highly of the Cowboys. It's not because I'm still leaning into their consistency. It's more so the fact that I just think the NFC East is terrible. I think it's garbage. I'll talk about the Cardinals and Washington Commanders coming up in a video. Probably directly after this, I'll film it. But Commanders, I'm not buying into. I've been out on the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm one of the first people out in the Philadelphia Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys, up and down. And then I'll talk about the Giants in just a minute, although still probably not a great football team. This Cowboys team, they can't run the ball, and they can't stop the run. Now, last night they did. We just mentioned that. Sure. But for the most part, if you have an above-average offensive line and an above-average running back, or even just an average offensive line, if you have an average offensive line and an average running back, you can gash this Cowboys team. The Cowboys, although, again, the outlier last night to being able to stop the run, cannot do two things that all successful teams in the NFL can do. At least one of these things. The Cowboys can't run the football, and they can't stop the run. That's the issue for this team. Honestly, the best thing I feel about this team is Dak Prescott. He played really well last night. At times was on fire. Threw a couple of passes to CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks that were right on the money. But this team is way too Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb dependent. The personnel in this offense is just not great. Jake Ferguson is a good tight end. I don't think he's anything special. Rico Dowdle is a below-average running back. Ezekiel Elliott is washed. Hunter Lemke, I'm just out on. It's really Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, or bust. This offensive line is getting better, but still's going to have some growing pains. The defense on this team is just continuously going to get gashed week after week. Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors, a rookie who still is very talented, but a rookie nevertheless, gashed this team. And this Wan'Dale Robinson as well got catch after catch after catch. He played really well last night. This Cowboys defense is not very good. Mike Zimmer isn't putting guys, in my opinion, in positions to succeed. I was texting with a Cowboys friend last night, and I'm like, what has happened to Micah Parsons previously to before he got injured? And he was like, he's playing out of position, which I never really noticed. But Micah Parsons has kind of been a non-factor all season long. This Cowboys defense, kind of been a non-factor all season long. This team has lost their identity. They have lost completely who they are. Last year, you could say whatever you wanted about this Dallas Cowboys team, but they had an identity. They will beat the bleep out of you at home. When they get a lead, they go full steam ahead and play smash mouth downhill football. They will punch you in the mouth, and they rode that wave all season long. They put up a bunch of points in a hurry. They were really good at home. A defense that will pin their ears back and get to the quarterback. And ever since that Green Bay Packers loss at home last year in the playoffs, they have never gotten their swagger back. They have not gotten their identity back. This team needs to get back to what they were doing last season, which was pin the ears back, get after the passer, apply pressure, not be so CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott dependent. They clearly probably want a mulligan on the Tony Pollard's contract situation. Probably wish they would have kept him around because this backfield has no juice. And at the end of the day, Mike McCarthy is just a dead man walking on this Dallas Cowboys team. There is no way at the end of the season he is still the head coach of this team. And the Dallas Cowboys still are in a good place to hire whatever head coach they want. They have the money to do so. They have the stability to do so. They have shown they've been patient on coaches. They give guys a long runway. That goes a long way with coaches. So this Dallas Cowboys team, for all the reasons, way too CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott dependent, no juice in the backfield, a young but growing offensive line, and a defense that is just getting gashed week in and week out, although last night was a decent performance. Micah Parsons has been mostly a non-factor. This team has to get back to what they were doing last season. They have no identity, and ever since that Green Bay Packers loss at home in the playoffs last year, they have not been the same team. And then you look at the inverse, the New York Giants. After week 1, the New York Giants looked miserable, but they are having a kicker away in week 2 or week 3, I believe, from being 2-3 and being competitive in every game. This Giants team is just missing a quarterback and a running back, but you can draft a running back and find that guy easy. Brian Daboll, credit to him, clearly not going to be a coach of the year guy because this team's going to be too bad. But he's coaching the heck out of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones played, quote-unquote, well last night. Had a dumb interception. You're just going to get that with Daniel Jones. But he's gotten one major weapon, Malik Neighbors, and has made the most out of him. This defense, Wink Martindale walks out that door, has gotten a little bit better as well. Played decently last night. But then you just look at the future of the Giants. An up and ascending wide receiver. They have, I guess I should say, anyone can be able to go draft a new running back. So that's not a big problem. Up and coming receiver. Offensive line is really good. And the defense looks better. And Brian Daboll, that's half the battle. Having the coach. And they have that guy. So overall, I feel better about the future of the New York Giants if they get a quarterback than the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants were competitive, and I didn't expect them to be. They covered the line. They've got a future. They've got an up and ascending wide receiver. They've got a really good offensive line. They need a running back. They need to find a quarterback. But they have the head coach in place. And if I could have Brian Daboll or Mike McCarthy, it's not close. So the Cowboys last night, although they won, I have severe worries about their future going forward. While I do believe the New York Giants' future is kind of bright.